Hello and welcome to the By the Lakeside podcast. My name is Sandra and this is a podcast about knitting and sewing adventures from my little craft room, which is by the lake. This is my first episode, so I'm a little bit nervous, but I wanted to do this podcast because I really love knitting and sewing, and I don't have a knitting circle around me or in my neighborhood, and I've been really enjoying a lot of the podcasts that I've been watching on YouTube and some of the Ravelry groups, so I thought I would give it a go. So a little bit about myself. I said my name is Sandra. I am a mom and a wife, and I have two boys that are aged 10 and 12, and I work full-time outside of the home. I am a fashion designer for boys clothing, which is a lot of fun because I have boys, and yeah, and I commute a lot, so my days are really full, but I try to find as much time as I can to knit in the evenings and on the weekends, and I really love sewing. So I started a little Etsy shop, and I've got some sewing projects in there that I will talk about a little bit later. But yeah, I just thought I would give the whole knitting podcast thing a try, see how it goes. So let's get started. I guess the first thing I will start with are finished objects. One second. Okay, so finished objects. The one finished object that I have is the Mara shawl from MADELINETOSH Knits. It is using the Tosh DK Light yarn in the Silver Fox color. It's a triangle shawl, and I really like how it turned out. It did take me a while. I started this quite a long time ago. I had a few problems with the initial cast on, just sort of messing up the yarn overs, and this center line wasn't coming out even. So I had to restart it a few times and I put it aside, but eventually I got it. It's a really beautiful but simple design. It's not too complicated. I'm not really an expert knitter. I've been knitting for on and off for quite a few years, but the last year or so I've really been a little bit more into it, so I've been trying some new things. So that is the shawl. It's got a beautiful border with rib detail and the yarn overs in the center, and this yarn is really pretty. So I'm excited to wear this one in the fall. It's much too hot right now to be wearing a shawl. So next segment would be hose or half objects. So the first one I have is in my Mrs. Brown's bags. I love this project bag. And in here I have a vanilla sock that I completely love. So it's using hedgehog fibers in the colorway Zephyr. Let's see here. It's so pretty. So this is just a vanilla sock with a basic heel, nothing fancy, but I really enjoyed knitting this. The yarn was so much fun. The colors are beautiful. I absolutely loved it. And this one is just the hedgehog fibers sock yarn in Zephyr. Like I said, it is 90% superwash merino and 10% nylon. And this was the first time that I did a sock trying the magic loop method, and I don't know what took me so long. I loved DPN needles, but I'm always looking for ways to knit a little bit faster just because I don't have a ton of knitting time. And as much as I love knitting for the process, I really want to finish more objects. So I tried a magic loop and I really loved it. So this is using a US, I believe it's a US 1 2.25 millimeter. And I'm on to the second one now, so I'm really happy. There's the yarn caked up. This one just came along so much faster than any other sock I've ever tried knitting. I think just the combination of the magic loop and the beautiful, beautiful colors in this yarn really made it go really quickly. And it matches my project bag. Really nice. So I love this one. I'm excited to finish this one. So that is a hoe. I think my next would be whips or works in progress. So my first one is in this Fringe field bag. I love this bag. It's from the Fringe Supply Company. And what I'm knitting here is the LOCATELLI Pure Joy. I really love this shawl. So as soon as I finished the Mara shawl, I needed to start another shawl right away because I really love having a shawl on the needles. So here's what I have so far. Let's see if I can unwind this a little bit. It's really, really pretty. Again, it's a lot of garter stitch, which I really love. I think it's just like a nice, mindless knit when you can't think of anything too complicated. The needles that I'm using for this are a US 6 or 4 millimeter. They're the Addy Turbo Lace. And I have to say, I don't really love these ones. I've never had the gold ones before, but I'm not really loving them. They seem to drag a little bit, but they're not too bad. The two yarns that I have here are these. So this is my main body or main color, and it is the Anzula Luxury Fibers. This is the Cloud base, and the color is Temperance. And I picked up this yarn at Pearl Soho in New York. It's so soft, it's beautiful. It is an 80% superwash merino, 10% cashmere, and 10% nylon. So it's super, super soft. And then the contrast and the border is Miss Babs, the Tarte 4-ply fingering weight yarn. The content is 75% superwash merino wool, 15% nylon, and 10% tencel. And I think it's turning out really neat. I've kind of had a love, and I don't want to say hate, but sort of a few doubts along the way as to my color choices. It's really, really an interesting color, but I love it. I really love it. So it's actually a really, again, it's not too complicated. So I really like this pattern. It's got enough interest to keep you going and make things, you know, really pretty and a little bit different without being boring, but nothing too complicated. I tried another shawl pattern in between the Mara shawl and this, and it involved a chart, and I had a few problems, so I had to rip it out. But yeah, I seem to really like LOCATELLI's patterns. I think they're really great. So I can see a few more of her patterns in my future. So that is what's being worked on here. I do have one other work in progress that I have in one of my own little bags, which I'll show you a bit more of later. And in here I have my Blueberry Waffle Socks by Sandy Turner, which is, I believe, a free pattern on Ravelry. And this is another one I've really liked, but I had started this before I tried the magic loop method. This is my yarn. It's really pretty. I picked this up on Etsy from Wren House Yarns, but I seem to have misplaced, oh no, maybe it's here. Oh, here it is. The colorway is Saltwater Taffy. It's really pretty. There's like some mint and some purple and even some browns in there. And here is the Blueberry Waffle Sock so far. So I'm doing these cuff down on double pointed needles, which I do really love. I just find them, they take a little bit longer. So this is a really nice squishy sock. I'm really loving it. But because you've got a mixture of knit and purl stitches, these tend to take me a lot longer than the basic vanilla sock. So this one sort of got put aside so that I could complete the vanilla socks with the hedgehog fibers because that one's a lot of fun. And I'm itching to finish a pair of socks right now. So that's gonna go on the back burner for a little while. But actually I've also been using this little needle cozy, which I love. It's from the Gnome Knitter on Etsy. And it's really handy because I find one of my biggest pet peeves is when things slip off of needles, so it's really cute. So yeah, that is my other work in progress, but it is, like I said, on the back burner for a little bit. And one of the, I think it's the last one I wanted to talk about, was in this basket here. And this is kind of a slow progress project, but I'm really loving it, and I love keeping this, you know, by my chair in the family room for nights when we just want to watch a movie together and I don't want to think too much. I don't know if you can see in there. What I have in here is my little basket for my Cozy Memories blanket. So I know there are a lot of people knitting on these, and I've seen some really beautiful ones, and mine is teeny, teeny, tiny. So I'm gonna show it anyways because I really love it. So this is the beginnings of my Cozy Memories. I've got 2 squares so far, and I am going to try to get all of the diagonal designs in the same direction. We'll see how that goes. I know you don't really need a pattern for this, but I did print off the Coziest Memory from Ravelry, which was also a freebie. It's got some, you know, instructions here to help you with your directions. And I did make a note. I think I got this from the LEGACYKNITZ. I'm pretty sure I did. And I took some advice from those lovely ladies. One of them was to pick up a set of needles specifically for this. So Sue, that's what I did. I picked up the 16-inch 2.75 millimeter needles from the Addy Turbo range. So I got the sock rockets. I love sock rockets. It doesn't catch on the joins or anything. It's really nice. And I find it fast. It's really fast to knit with these. So those are my needles. They're tucked away in here. And I picked up another little tip. I jotted it down, which was to slip the first stitch, knit through the back loop at the end. So that way your edges are cleaner and it's easier to pick up the stitches when you are adding another square. So I'm trying that out, and so far it's working out. I need to start doing this a little bit more often. The colors that I have here, which were in the here, were some MADELINETOSH unicorn tails that I had picked up at a yarn store in Toronto, which is actually where I'm from. If I didn't mention, I live in Canada, and I live just outside of Toronto, pretty close to the lake, so that's why my shop is called By the Lakeside. So I have them in 3 colors. I think, if I get this right, that would be Worn Denim, which is a nice light blue. This would be Celadon, a nice green. And the other one I haven't used yet is called Big Sur. So there's that one. So I know I've picked up a lot of other sock yarns that I will be able to use the leftovers from for this blanket, but I really wanted to get it started. I think I started this a couple months ago. So I picked up those unicorn tails to get started. And at the same time, I was checking out Yarn Ink from Etsy, and I picked up these really great minis. So I'm really excited to add these to my Cozy Memories blanket. I think they're beautiful. I've never knit with any of her yarn, but they're super soft. So these are merino nylon sock minis from Yarn Ink. And I think I learned about these from the Grocery Girls, some fellow Canadians. So I picked up 3 colors. This one is Heart and Soul. So pretty, and I'm excited to see how that one knits up. I picked up Cold as Ice, which is really pretty too. Lots of little flecks of turquoise and green kind of hiding in there. And then this one, which I thought was also beautiful, it's called Luxor. I really love mustardy colors, so there's that one. With a little bit of, not much, but a few little speckles in there too. Oh, and in here I also have this cute little tin. I picked this up from my local art store, and I love it. It's my little nutcase. So in here I just have a few little tools that I like to hang on with me. So I've got some little scissors, tons of little markers, and a few random little things in case I need them when I'm sitting, you know, with the family by the TV. So that is my Cozy Memories blanket. I'm making a bit of a mess here. And then I guess I thought I would just show you a couple of yarns, some stash enhancement that I just received last week in the mail. I was loving my hedgehog fiber sock, the yarn, so much that I needed to order some more. Sorry, I just got distracted. My son and husband are in the backyard playing soccer, and the ball, I think they did it on purpose, but they just kicked the ball to the window. So I had to get some more. I ended up trying a different kind. So this is the Hedgehog Fibers Skinny Singles. And I really adore these hand-dyed yarns. I really, really love them. When you look at them, you can see the colors in there are just stunning. So there are, it's a little bit of a pinky peach base. And there's some fuchsia and purple and some cobalt blue. And then some peach too, which is really nice. So I'm excited about this, and I thought this was actually a duo. So I think I got this on Simply Sock Yarns, the website. It's a little bit hard for me to find hedgehog fibers where I am, so I need to order it. But this was a duo pack, so I thought that was great. I'm not sure if it'll be enough. They are the Skinny Singles, 100% merino wool. And there are 366 meters or 100 grams each. And I thought that would be a great combo for a shawl. I'm not quite sure if I would have enough to do sort of the main body of the shawl in this guy. And then maybe do some kind of a border in this really deep tonal purple. You can see some really neat colors in there popping through. So I'm excited about those. And while I was ordering the hedgehog fibers, I fell in love with this color. So this is actually the Merino DK weight. And it says here, it's 100% springy twist merino wool, hand-dyed using wash fast and light fast dyes. It's 115 grams or 200 meters, and this is in the color Monarch, and I love it. So I saw this colorway in the sock yarn on Ravelry, and I went on a hunt for it, but I could only find it in the DK. But I thought this would make a really fun hat of some kind, so I'm doing a little bit of dream knitting, and I thought maybe a hat would be nice. And I thought maybe I will find like a really cool brown or a nice deep navy blue to do some kind of contrast rib or something on that. So I'm excited about that. I'm not sure if I mentioned the colors on these actually, come to think of it. So this one that I grabbed is called Potluck 6 and Potluck 7. So I guess that was the combo there. So yeah, that is, I think that's about all that I got for stash enhancement this week. But I do have some sewing I wanted to show you and talk about. So the first thing I wanted to show you is a top that I made recently. I don't make a lot of my own clothes, but this summer I felt like I really wanted to make something. So I purchased the Wixton tank from Jenny Gordy, which is pretty popular. And I stumbled across this really beautiful yarn and fabric or quilt shop. Where was it? It was Niagara-on-the-Lake when we were driving through with the family. And I stopped and I found this beautiful Liberty of London fabric. so maybe I will have to hold that back, but it's super basic, but really pretty. So it's just a really nice, it's a really nice tank that's really loose, kind of flowy, and the edges are just done with a bias tape, so it's super easy. I'm in love with this fabric. I think it's a voile, I can't remember what I picked up, but it's the Liberty of London, which is used a lot for summer dresses and blouses and things like that. So I'm really happy with how this turned out. And I've worn it a couple of times already, which is probably one of the only times I've actually worn something I made. I mentioned earlier that I design clothing for a living, but I've never actually designed. I've mostly done kids wear and things that are not really for me. So that's kind of nice. And the only other things I wanted to talk about were some of the sewing projects that I've made and recently put into my Etsy shop. So I started making some project bags recently. And I have two different kinds, and my shop is called By the Lakeside on Etsy. And actually, let's see here. They look, so the small project bags look like this. They're just a little wedge bag, and I have been collecting a lot of quilting weight cotton fabrics for quite a few years, and so I've been putting them to good use. This one is a recent acquisition, but they're wedge bags, so they're perfect to, you know, open up and, you know, put your project in, put your yarn in there. And I like this size for a small project, so this is a perfect sock bag for me. It's a little bit big for a sock bag, but I really like to have the extra room. So I've got, most of my designs have the cotton canvas at the bottom, and then a quilting cotton on the top with my little label. And I tend to use contrast zippers and these little tassels in contrast colors. And then I line them also in a different color or different pattern fabrication just to make it a little more fun. And I like this one because it's a little bit high so that you can use it as a little working basket too. So you can have your project in there and open it up like a little bucket. And that's it. So I've got the butterflies. I've got these cute little clouds. I've got the little sticks of gum, contrast zippers. I've got some florals. These are all the same size wedge bags. I've got the balls of yarn. I've got sloths. I think this guy's really cute. The Viewmasters, which are really fun, colorful. And the little horses. A lot of the fabrics that I have here are from Cotton and Steel, which is a line I really, really love. And then I also do some little mini pouches, patchwork, that I really love doing. So these are kind of a little hobby of mine. I love patchwork. I love small quilting projects. This is the one that I use, so I've got some of my little notions in here. They're all different. They're all using little bits and pieces of fabric that I have. Some of them are all canvas in the back. Some will have a little contrast fabric. And again, using different colored zippers and lining it with different fabrics too. So this one is different fabric in there. And here I just keep my little stitch markers, my little lip balm, a counter, of course, more scissors. And I've got some little stitch markers and progress keepers in there. I also have some washi tape, which is really great for, I use it on my patterns to keep track of my spot, because I have a terrible memory. Oh, and my little measuring tape, which I love. So that all goes in there. And I have a few of those in my shop right now. So I have a couple with the Matryoshka dolls. So there's that one. This one is a little bit different. Some of them have the coral zippers, some of them have the brown zippers. I've got the little butterflies and some floral, and this really great, I think this is a Robert Kaufman denim, and a little patchwork horse one. So those are my little patchwork pouches, which you can find in my Etsy shop. And I think just one of the last things I wanted to talk about were some books that I'm really interested in. I'm not a huge reader, but when I do find a book that I love, I really, really enjoy them. So the first one I picked up is Knitlandia, and that's by Clara Parks. And I've just recently picked this up and started reading it, and so far I love it. It's Knitlandia, a knitter sees the world, and it's Clara Parks taking us along with her on some of her adventures. She travels quite a bit. She's a writer and goes to all kinds of yarn festivals, wool festivals. So this is a really nice summer read. I really like it because it is a collection of stories, so it's easy to pick up and put down, which is nice. And another one that I am really loving, but I'm kind of surprised because I'm not really a big reader, but it's this one. It is Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. My niece was reading this and I asked her about it and she recommended it. So it's the first one in a trilogy, and there is a movie coming out in the fall. So I really wanted to read these before the movie comes out. And it's a little bit creepy so far, but nothing too much. And it's just really interesting. The characters in here are fantastic, and there's so many really neat and eerie looking pictures that tie together or tie into the story a little bit. Like, look at that. Is that creepy? It's odd. But I love it. So I read quite a bit. For me, that's a lot. I think I read that in just a couple of days. So those are the two things that I'm reading about. I am not sure if I'm even going to post this video. I've been thinking about doing this for a really long time, but I just got the nerve up this weekend. So I'm going to try and post it and see how that goes. I'm not sure if I will be making more videos or not, but if I do, I did think that it would be fun to maybe just continue showing what I'm working on, maybe some dream projects dream knitting that I have, you know, in my mind, because I am not the most experienced knitter, and I don't have a ton of time. So I do think about casting on a lot of things. So I have lots of things in my queue on Ravelry. Oh, and I didn't mention that. So if you'd like to find me on any other social media places, you can. On Instagram and Ravelry, I am SANDYRAN, and I think that's it. On Etsy, my shop is By the Lakeside. So I am trying to update that shop here and there when I have time to do some bags. And yeah, I think that's it. So I hope that you enjoyed this little podcast. I might not have a ton to offer by way of information, but you guys might be able to help me with my questions and my knitting dilemmas. So thank you very much for watching, and maybe I'll see you next time. Bye.